What's up, everybody? This is SOS Rampage is back at you with some more wrestling content. We are doing a little bit of a different spin on things, trying to divulge into different things, trying to pay some respects, kind of doing what we used to do on the podcast kind of idea, what we're going to bring back with the podcast kind of idea in the near future, but doing it in a different spin, a different way, paying a little bit of homage to some of our bigger names, some of our people more prevalent in the wrestling space, especially in this time with his passing and everything like that. Names SOS Rampage, as you see at the bottom of the thing. It's a little bit different presentation because we were going to try a little bit different things, watching along some different moments and different things and stuff like that with some of these videos. That being said, I'm going to kick it on over to my co-host and let him do his thing.
I am SOS Farm. And if you want to find me on YouTube, I am under Farm27.
And we are going to be going over the career, like I said, and the memorable moments of the late great Sabu now, as far as he has just passed a couple days, 1 day ago, 2 days ago, very recently, and 2 days ago now. And, definitely hitting the wrestling world. Everybody's kind of, putting the ones up into the air. Not exactly acknowledging Roman Reigns at this point. It's, for late great Sabu and everything that he's accomplished, and kind of a lot of people saying, especially, that he is one of those that is going to go not as recognized as some of the other ones because of a lot of the things that he did and a lot of the, different risks that he took and a lot of the ways that he was. So, yeah, with that, we're going to get into kind of our top 5 memorable moments in our minds as far as where we are from, the SOS perspective. What we be seeing online, as well as obviously influenced as well, but this is just kind of in our mind where my head sits as well as my man's over here. So we're going to start off with this first clip of like the first, earliest moment of these moments that we have is, the late great Sabu falling off of, falling off of the Raw sign. You saw this live? Yes? No?
Take a look at this off the top of the
Did see
arms
this.
of the law. What we are talking about
How did you had you noticed that before from ECW? Like, what had you seen before? Was this your first time you had seen it?
First time I saw Sabu on TV.
This goes to the 90s.
I had always seen pictures of him in like the Pro Wrestling Illustrated magazines. So it was like the black and white photos, but you could tell like he was covered in blood or barbed wire or the scars. But that was the first time I actually seen him live in living color moving. And like as soon as I saw him on the R, I knew exactly who it was. I didn't know what he was going to do. I didn't know why he was up there, but I knew that crazy madman that I always saw in the magazines had found his way into the building somehow.
And what gave him that kind of aura and what that really set up was kind of his match, obviously, with Taz and his big feud with Taz at Barely Legal, and that setup of, everybody remembers that iconic moment of the lights going out. There's a lot of arguments that is the best lights going out moment. It's one of the earliest ones that I can remember of it really having that sting and that impact like that. It just, that presence and that aura of not just how, Sabu was, but Taz, he's standing there with his arms crossed the entire time, just not flinching, not moving a muscle. It's a moment that sits in time, and you can't touch it with anything else. It's kind of like it really sits there.
If I'm not mistaken, I think Taz called Sabu out for like 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
And like the lights went out. Like you said, when they came back on, Taz is just in the corner, arms crossed. Bill Alfonso was blowing the whistle, and Sabu's just standing there pointing at the ceiling, and just the crazy moment. It was like Rock and Hogan without doing the you look this way, I look that way.
Yeah. And I mean, he would go forward to have, crazy matches with Taz, crazy matches with a bunch of people throughout the 90s. And it is insane to think that later on in the mid 2000s, when WECW came back around, this man was still having these classic matches that even quoted, a couple days ago when the passing happened, that Sammy Guevara saw him live do this on Raw, and that's one thing that inspired him to do what he does now. I mean, when Sabu was on, that triple jump springboard leg drop to the announce table on Cena is something that, like, he hit to perfection. 5 stars. Like, it's, that's why I said it's one of those things. When he was on, and that night he was on, and he showcased himself in front of the world, and it kind of put ECW on the map. And if they kind of would have kept the ball rolling, if different things would have happened, it really would have meant a lot more. And it kind of showcases that also in this kind of clip. You said you've seen this match a little bit, but not that much. Yes,
I've seen this match, but I probably haven't seen it since it happened live, so I do not remember it.
It's definitely one I would suggest to everybody kind of going back and watching. It's not too long of a match, but it's also that idea of, it was that first WWE versus ECW kind of idea, and it was a fun atmosphere. I remember watching it back because I did, as we're about to look into on the next highlight, I did have the WWE One Night Stands 1 and 2 DVDs, and then the second one, they showcased that Raw, and it was a fun night because they had the battle royal of ECW versus Raw, and that's when the big show turned on, WWE, and it was a good time. It was a fun night, and it was a fun show to coincide with One Night Stand and to really set up that show. So, like, I remember a lot of these things very, very fondly, just like Sammy does.
Old double shirt Big Show.
So, and this is the next clip that I have prepared as far as, like, my biggest memory probably from Sabu as far as matches concerned is, Rey Mysterio and him, which is, especially this spot as a child and even now as an adult, like, that. I thought, man, both of them broke their neck. I don't know how either of them made it through. You can't see where Ray. I mean, it had to be Sabu protecting him.
He just drops straight down.
Like that's all Sabu's back. I feel like that had to be, with both of their body impacts, both everything. Just
that's the only way he knew how to do it. Like how Mick Foley says, how I made it look like it hurt because it really hurt.
Yeah. It's one of those moments in time, and that's the entire match. Like the entire match of, like I was describing, when we were getting ready for this, of like first time I had ever seen Sabuing a chair at somebody, like him chucking that at Ray at full speed, and just that bang of that chair hitting them is, as a child watching it, as a youth, it's like, whoa, this is different than things that I've seen before. This is a lot different than things that I've experienced before, and this is a different kind of dude, and he always carried himself that way. I mean, the entire way of like this, he was a different kind of cat.
I completely fell for the gimmick. I did not think that he could speak English.
Like they had the Jeff Hardy being the charismatic enigma. I mean, this man was the first ever kind of charismatic enigma. Like, nobody really truly understood Sabu all the way. He did his thing, and he did whatever he wanted to do until his, last match of, I'm sure many, many people told him not to, at 60 years old, doing a no rope barbed wire match on WrestleMania weekend. But this is what man's wanted to do, and this is how he wanted to go out, and that just shows more of a testament of the will and just kind of how he wanted things. And it's
he was going to be Sabu no matter what.
And that's, I mean, to his last kind of days. And it's one of those things where you really feel like, and animals do it and different people do it, you really feel like he set himself up for what happened. He set himself up between this last match happening literally 30 days ago and him literally promoting his uncle, his trainer, his person that he looked up to so much, promoting the Sheik in this new Dark Side coming up, tonight. Like he planned this a little bit, and at least in my mind and my logic, did he do it himself? No, but was it kind of like
his job?
His job was done. He put himself to rest. He did everything that he wanted to do, all he could do, and he could put his body to rest. He could rest his mind and his soul, and he could be with, like a lot of people had said throughout this entire battle, of he had just lost his wife and stuff like that recently, and there's a lot of people, especially when you get to that old age, you want to join your person. You want to join, that, especially that person that made you happy. So it's kind of that idea of, he had everything in line to do what he needed to do. And, going out that way, it's very honorable. And he always went out that way, kind of idea.
Yeah. What's your favorite Sabu catchphrase? Oh, that's a good one. What's your favorite Sabu interview?
Homicidal, genocidal, suicidal.
Nah, that's what Joey Styles said about him.
He said that like one time, I feel like.
I don't think he like mumbled some stuff to Bill Alfonso maybe. But this is what I'm getting at. Like, Homeboy became a legend in every company that he went to without really ever saying anything. Like, he did everything in the ring to show what his art was.
And big shout out to Fonzie with that. Bill Alfonso. Like, that's, with definitely his high mark. Definitely his, I would say, his biggest managerial success of, when people think of Bill Alfonso, they think of Sabu. Like, that's kind of.
That puts him on a scale higher than Taz and RVD as far as his clients, and like Sabu's a big name, so I agree with that one.
Anything else you want to kind of put in there?
That a whistle's just gonna always make me think of him now,
Yeah, it's that WWE music to me.
Great chant. Is that a Jim Johnson song?
I want to believe it is, but like you had brought it up, I think it might have been used in ECW beforehand. They might have just kind of tweaked it a little bit in WWE. I don't know.
Either way, like that fit his character so perfect. It's like dangerous and mysterious.
But yeah, this was it's. I want to believe that doing things like this as well, putting it out there, especially when people pass and stuff like that, is like a little bit of us getting it out as fans, us trying to put our 2 cents into it, us trying to process it as well. It is one of those things where we live through kind of our heroes and kind of our people that we look up to, and it does kind of hit you in a different way. And if it does kind of hit everybody else in that kind of way, and you want to kind of vocalize it, it helps out to do so. Do it in the comments, do it on your own, do it kind of, it definitely does help in the quote unquote grieving process of processing, you losing someone that you watched and followed for a long time and you've invested in, whether it be a little bit or a lot kind of idea. There are more that you're going to invest in than others, but it's still that kind of idea of you still are giving that little bit of investment, whether it be your time or, mental or whatever. So pitch yourself so we can get out of here.
Once again, I am SOS Farm, and on YouTube, I am Farm27.
And over here, SOS Rampages on Twitch, on the TikTok, on the X, and all that good stuff. Come check me out over there. Come check out all the pretty little videos on the side where we talk about all the different wrestling content. We just talked about House of Glory. When we talk about John Cena, we're going to be doing our, usual Breaking the Wrestling Barriers, doing our usual gaming content. Check him out playing some Schedule 1, different retro stuff. Check me out playing wrestling games and all sorts of different content. We're all over the place. We're trying to expand all of our horizons in all sorts of different places and avenues, as well as check us out on the Society of Streamers Discord, where you can watch different things. Like we just watched this match tonight just to kind of prep ourselves for what we were going to kind of talk about tonight, because it is kind of the embodiment of man's career and how he was. So if you want to join us there, come check us out in the different places, and you can find those links there. So yeah, we will check y'all next time. Peace on all that.